Hi guys, welcome to another episode. No late fees, as you can tell by our extreme enthusiasm. We saw Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire.
Yay.
We did get one good thing out of the night out, though.
That is so true. We did
Yeah,
get one really great thing out of it. Everyone's new favorite display toy. Fuck a popcorn bucket. This
yeah.
is my new favorite display toy.
$40, sign me up, man. Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire, which is the sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife, which for the most part I didn't have a problem with. I think it fell apart during the last act. But for the most part, I enjoyed the new characters and the fan service. I feel like wasn't done in poor taste. Dude, Frozen Empire is a overcooked mess.
You know, they took Frozen and it's really frost burnt. There is a layer of just ice that we cannot thaw away from this movie.
I mean, I will say it's not the complete abomination against humanity that Ghostbusters 2016 was, but it's sort of dog shit. It's not really dog shit, but it's like the dog shit bag that was already used and someone dumped the dog poop out of, but it still
It just
smells like dog shit.
still wafting.
Yeah.
It definitely, is not it's not a okay, it wasn't like a complete dumpster fire, but I wouldn't say it was necessarily a success either. It definitely had moments where, like, I was definitely excited for that hot
Mhm.
second in my seat. A lot of it was just unnecessary.
A lot of it was too much shoved in and spread way too thin.
Obviously, we're gonna get into spoilers, but Patton Oswalt's character should have been Ray the whole time. Like,
Oh, dude, 100%. His character was to give the lore on our new big bad.
which is
Why not
Ray.
give it to Ray? He works at a fucking
What a
bookstore that
fucking
deals with all this weird shit, and he's obviously a fan of it and has been studying it for like fucking 40 or 50 years. Give it to Ray.
I get we had to go back to the library to call back to the library ghost, but that could have been Ray.
Yeah.
He's got his own bookstore library, and if he didn't have that, then he should have been able to go to the library to find it.
I'll start off with some of my positives. I really like the opening scene. The opening scene with that was in like 1904 or whatever with the firefighters. It's like a really hot summer day, and they go there and everyone's frozen. It's really creepy. The horror aspects played up really nicely. I definitely wanted more of that.
They had a lot of things that they didn't need and not enough of what I would have liked. I wanted more scenes like that. I wanted more like intermittent ghost chasing stuff that wasn't just, you try to get Slimer, you get slimed.
Yeah.
Which is great, but too much movie was spent on that where, I wanted more, like, with that sea dragon, sewer
Yeah, yeah.
dragon ghost, like,
So
with the
we'll jump into that right now because that was my next positive thing. I really liked the opening action scene with the family, with Gary, Callie, Trevor, and Phoebe. I think them being back in New York, back in the firehouse, being full-time Ghostbusters, they had great chemistry in Afterlife. I wanted more of that. Why not make them the main focus? And we see this family aspect that the characters could obviously play off each other. Just have them living in the firehouse. And that's our main focus point. We don't get all that. There's so many goddamn characters to focus on that we can't even sit and soak in the characters that we want to care about. The opening chase scene with them, they're chasing this big like eel sewer dragon type thing. And it's fun. The action's good, the CG looks good, and it's a fun scene. My only complaint is I think Ghostbusters works better at nighttime versus there's a lot of daytime scenes in this movie. And then they had the drone. I thought the drone was cool. The
the
drone was an
drone
interesting
was
concept.
really cool with the, like, the reverse, and it opens into the backwards trap. This 2016 movie being shit what it is, Kate McKinnon's character Holtzman would have been great in this universe because the tech she was coming up with was fucking nuts, and I would have loved to see some of that brought into this.
But that's a very, very scary line to walk because if there is an after credit scene and one of them showed up, oh my god, I probably would have thrown up on the fucking floor because that ugh, I can't stand that fucking movie. there's a lot of things going on in this movie. It's overcooked, it's
Too
overstuffed.
many.
We have characters from the first movie, from Afterlife. We have the legacy characters, our main Ghostbusters from the original movies. You have Gary dealing with the fact if he wants to be a father or not. Is he willing to step into that role? Is he going to? You have Trevor, who's now an adult and he's not getting the respect that he wants as an adult. And then on the other side of the coin, you have Phoebe, who is not yet an adult and she wants that said respect to be treated as an adult so she doesn't have to be pulled and ride the bench and not be able to be a Ghostbuster. There's just, and dude, that's only a little piece of it. There's so much going on in this movie.
And that's just amongst the Ghostbusters. Don't forget Peck. Don't forget Kunal Nanjiani's character, the Fire Master, just because we needed to bring him into another fun franchise. There was just so much where a whole side of this movie just subjected to, oh, hold on, light the candle.
Light the candle.
Hold on, light the candle.
Light the candle.
Hold on,
Yeah, I
wait, I'm a
didn't.
firebender. Let's light the candle.
Light the candle. Just like that.
His character, the Fire Master, is like his family heirloom. They have been basically kind of ghost busting for hundreds of years. He inherits the ability to be a airbender. I understand we're talking about a movie that people wear nuclear accelerators on their backs and they capture fucking ghosts. I understand it's a ridiculous concept on its own, but for some reason, like powers like that, one, I think it muddies the water, and two, I think it just doesn't fit.
There's a fine line between science and magic, and I don't think they needed to add magic in there because the science already did it,
Fan service is great if done right.
if done right.
I think this movie is a example of it not being done right.
As much as I enjoyed some of the callbacks to like the cartoons and things like that, what I wanted more of, like that one ghost that just popped into inanimate objects. I
Oh, the
wanted more
possessor.
of yeah, I wanted more of that one. Like when he took over Ecto One, that was
That should have
cool.
been a
That
whole
had
scene.
that was so
That should
much
have been
potential.
that should have been like a 5-minute chase scene
Right.
of the Ecto One being
Just
chased by the
firing off
Ghostbusters.
weapons and
Yeah,
like you have to use a trap on your car that's got a trap in it, so you have to figure out how to make it
something.
work.
There are callbacks constantly throughout the movie that are just for the sake of doing them to get a cheap nostalgic pop.
Yep.
Like member berries, the entire movie. Remember Walter Peck? Well, he's
He
here, but
was
he's just not that funny. Remember the
no.
library ghost? Library ghost is there for no reason. Remember the lions on the stairs? The lions are
They look
there.
cool. Now they got more screen time than you know what they needed to.
Remember Slimer? I love Slimer, don't get me wrong, but Slimer's there to give Trevor something to do throughout the whole movie. That's all Trevor does is attempt to
Chase
catch
Slimer.
Slimer the entire fucking movie and just gets slimed, and then he'll set up a trap, he'll put some Cheetos out there, get slimed again. You could have taken that whole story out and the movie doesn't skip a beat. Janine, don't get me wrong, I fucking love Janine Melnitz.
Melnitz in uniform. Yeah.
But remember her? Remember how she answers the phone? Ghostbusters, what do you want? It's there, just less enthusiastic.
I think it was the real Ghostbusters cartoon. They had
Yep.
Janine show up in uniform. So like I'm here for it. But did she even use that fucking gauntlet that she so proudly cocked on her wrist?
I don't think so. She like
How does
it,
it
it's
work?
just it's weird. It's weird at the end of the movie when you see there's like 15 Ghostbusters, all lining up for their fucking cool little action pose. And Janine has this proton wrist gauntlet thing, but Janine is like 3 feet tall. And
2
she
seconds
just
later they get pushed into a wall and stuck there with ice. So this was all useless anyway.
remember this mini Stay Puft Marshmallow Men? The new
Gotta keep
minions
them
for the
around.
Ghostbusters movie that is just there to sell fucking product. They're in there. Remember the Ghostbusters theme song? Did you ever want the main character to sing it back to you and break the fourth wall
There's something weird, and it don't look good.
and just have silent dead air in the movie because no one thought it was funny? Well,
Busted
Gary
makes me
does.
feel good.
Busted makes me feel no. It makes. Get out.
Gary does that in this. Come on, Paul Rudd, dude, you're better than that, man. Like that
Right.
joke missed so hard. That was one of the things I went.
That's the kind of
"Ah."
jokes that's the kind of jokes we make here, not the kind
Exactly.
of jokes that should be in movies.
Yes, that's the kind of perfectly said. Perfectly said.
They brought back everybody and their mother for this movie. Where the hell is Rick Moranis? Your kids are old enough where you can come back out into the world and do movies now. I needed you in this. I needed a Lewis Tully cameo.
Rick Moranis is smart. He read the script And he's like, "No, I'm good. I'm actually busy." I mean, they had the
Listen,
guy from the fucking library in there. The guy who's did you see it? What was it? When they're running out of the library, that guy
yep.
was even there for a 5-second cameo just because. Sigourney Weaver too. She probably read the script and she's like, "Nah, I'm busy, and plus, you probably can't afford me."
At this point.
We do see the legacy characters, the OG Ghostbusters. I definitely enjoyed that Ray was in this movie a lot more than the last one.
Oh yeah, big time. But again, underutilized. They could have used his character for finding out more information than just, hey, look, this is a ball. What does this ball do? Hey, look, me and Podcast are gonna test some stuff and see if it's ghosty.
Winston is also there, which you and I are obviously big fans of.
Fucking man.
He's trying to expand the Ghostbusters, kind of like a Ghostbusters International type thing, is what I would probably guess that they're going towards. But he's running the Ghostbusters from a business perspective, and he has a whole lab trying to build a bigger containment unit. And Lucky's there for some reason with nothing to do. And the new character, I don't even know his fucking name, the engineer that works with him, is just there for some reason. And I
Shouldn't
don't
Lucky
care.
be in school? Like, is it like their whole thing with Phoebe was, I don't know, you're a kid, you can't be doing all this stuff. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
I don't think.
Winston, were you missing this whole also small child in your facility?
And then I put, you still have Walter Peck, Janine, Lucky, Podcast, Winston's new employee, Bill Murray, who shows up for 3 minutes throughout the movie. Oh, and you have the new Ghost Girl. We didn't get there yet.
Oh, Ghost Girl.
And we spent a lot of time with this new Ghost Girl,
This
Melody.
Ghost Girl. Not music to my ears, that's for sure.
So Phoebe is benched throughout the movie. And we have this, I'm sure we'll catch some flack for this, but you have this obvious lesbian love interest of Phoebe's, which eats up a lot of screen time, and I feel like it's just out of place.
If it was meant to be the friendship that it kind of started potentially being, it was too much. It lasted too long. There was too many like sad, intimate music behind it where I'm like, okay, I feel what you're pushing. It does not need this aspect.
Yeah, I feel what you're pushing, but it doesn't belong in a Ghostbusters movie. It just feels out of place.
Again, not that it wouldn't belong in a Ghostbusters movie. If it were to come up in a better way, then oh no, I have to befriend / potentially fall for this ghost who's gonna betray me and then come back and save the day at the end. Do it better.
So it went from like awkward long scenes of dialogue that in my opinion had no chemistry, if that's what you're trying to push to us. It went from that to very quickly to Phoebe being willing to basically kill herself in this experimental machine they have that takes the spirits out of like possessed objects. So and they did
Phoebe
all
being a
this.
possessed object.
Yeah, so they did all of this so the ghosts and Phoebe could touch each other.
Because there wasn't
You're gonna
any other she could have gone upstairs and touched Slimer, and it wouldn't have done the exact same thing, like a ghost touching a ghost.
I think that move for her character is very out of place. We
Big
established in
time.
the first movie that she's just like Egon. She's a person of science and she's insanely smart. I think her putting herself in this new machine that has not been tested, I don't think she's dumb enough to go through with that just for
No.
some dumb crush that she has during the movie. I was waiting for them to have like a ghost kiss scene, and thank God they didn't do that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, all right, here it comes, but it didn't happen. But how did the scene make you feel?
So, as a member of the LGBTQIA community, it was just another moment in cinema that feels forced. Like I understand wanting to have that kind of inclusion in different kinds of media, but if it doesn't move the story, if it's not really advancing anything, then it's just dead air. And
Yeah.
it comes off just, yes, got to put this in there too because there wasn't enough going on.
I felt like they were pandering, and I'm not even part of that community. I felt like they were kind of just pushing for like a look what we're doing, guys. Look how inclusive we are. And I just think it
Even
didn't.
ghosts believe in love.
I don't think it landed. And
No.
I'm sure Sony would probably play the angle of plausible deniability just to be safe. But You don't have to be Egon fucking Spengler to be able to read between the lines and see they were heavily hinting towards a romantic relationship between Phoebe
Correct.
and Melody the Ghost. Think about the romance plots from the originals. They were all used for jokes. Dana and Peter, Janine
The
and
worst
Lewis.
romance ever.
The bigger joke is that they thought it was a good idea to do this whole story halting, awkward ghost romance subplot between two characters that are both underage minors in what's supposed to be a family friendly kids movie. Get the fuck out of here.
The character of Melody was useless to begin with. They should have had her playing chess with Spengler or like a ghost of somebody important. Make it like one of the Firemaster descendants so that somehow you get betrayed by someone who wasn't chosen to be a Firemaster or like something that would have tied into the actual plot as opposed to, hey, we got a ghost. Oh,
Mhm.
hey, look, remember this book of matches for later. It might come in handy. Wait a minute. Let's light that match real quick. Oh, I guess everything's safe now because we lit a match in the Frozen Empire.
10 years from now, this will be the one thing this movie is remembered for. Is that weird one with the awkward ghost romance angle? And I don't think that's what Sony would want. I don't know about you, but I saw it coming from a mile away. They're flirting and they're, getting closer, and then inevitably Melody fucks her over at the end.
This whole plot line of Melody, like I said, she had to be the anti-protagonist who was not necessarily a bad person, but had to come back and screw you over and then come back and save the day. Had they spent more time on Garaka, I feel like it would have held more weight as an actual villain, as opposed to wasting our time with that.
I think the same thing could have been accomplished, and it also would have cut out, like, how many scenes are there? Probably 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes worth of screen time between them.
Yeah.
If you cut out their whole thing and you didn't need that plot device to open the orb and it just kind of opened, you don't
Yeah.
need an explanation on why it opens. Maybe once it comes out of that brass room, it's unprotected and it would open.
They still could have done that. Okay, we need to suck the energy out of it too, but not had the dumb ghost storyline in the background. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't have just had that. Oh, now Phoebe's sad because the ghost screwed her over, and then also it brought on the end of the world.
I think we should have had more time with Garaka. By the time we get to him, like, he's a very cool looking character. I dig his design. He definitely, has a presence to him. But by the time we get to him and we see all those shots that we saw in the first trailer where, like, the whole entire city is being covered in snow and big ice daggers and all this stuff and is obviously being attacked, that's all the final act. And by the time we get there, it's like 10 minutes.
We really just watched a 2-hour movie to watch you turn things to ice for a few minutes, and then, oh no, we reversed everything again, and
Yeah.
it's fixed.
I think that this movie just didn't get what made the original Ghostbusters great. That lightning in a bottle story. It was a simple going into business for yourself premise that had actors and characters that had great chemistry that you could easily invest in. And I think this movie fails at all of that. There's none of that in here. Don't get me wrong. I love seeing the Ecto 1. I love seeing the proton packs and the tech. And I love busting ghosts just as much as the next guy, but I couldn't recommend this movie. I'd give it a 3 out of 10, give or take. I wouldn't recommend wasting your money on it. I would say if you really want to see it, either make sure you're bringing your kids because they'll probably enjoy it, or just wait for streaming.
I would go as far as like a 5.5, 6, only
Okay.
because if I take my own expectations out of it, for what it actually was, there was potential. There was some moments that I really did enjoy. It got bogged down by itself.
Yeah.
They wanted to put so much in there, and some of that what should have been small little Easter eggs that lead into a story elsewhere. Give me the Firemaster on the next thing. Make that a story that has its own thing, not
Yeah.
Garaka.
I would jump to a 5 out of 10 if this was free with my ticket purchase. Besides
100%.
that,
100%.
I'll stick to like my 3.5. All right, so that was Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I'd like to thank you guys for hanging out for a little bit and checking out this video. If you like it, Like, share, comment, and subscribe, all that good stuff. And from myself and Lenny, later, guys.
See ya.